You picture medieval life as short, brutal, miserable, mud streets, rotting teeth, dying at 30, that's the image, plague masks, public executions, everyone starving in the dark. But here's the strange part. Most of that picture? It's fake, invented centuries later by people who never lived it. The real medieval world was hell in a completely different way, and it's still hiding in how you live today. Let's start with the number everyone quotes. People only lived to 30. That statistic is true, and it's also a trick. It counts babies. Infant deaths drag the average way down. If you survived childhood, actually made it to age 5, your odds of reaching 60 were surprisingly decent. Grandparents existed. Old age existed. Kings ruled into their 70s. So if everyone died young isn't quite right. What was actually the hell part? It wasn't death, it was time. You don't own your time. Not really. Not the way you think you do. In medieval life, there was no clock in your house, no calendar app. Time was told by church bells. And church bells told you when to pray, when to work, when to stop. The church didn't just run Sundays, it ran your whole week. Fasting days, feast days, days you couldn't eat meat, days you couldn't have sex. Yes, that was regulated too by a monk, based on the church calendar. Your labor wasn't yours either. If you were a peasant, you likely owed days of unpaid work to a lord. Not taxes. Actual labor. His fields first. Yours, whenever there was time left. Here's the part that stings the most. You probably knew this was unfair. Peasant revolts happened. People rioted, burned records, demanded change. And most of those revolts failed, crushed. Leaders hanged in public, as a warning to the next village. So it wasn't dirt and disease that made it hell. It was knowing your entire life belonged to somebody else, and having almost no path out. Now, here's the twist that changes the whole picture. The dark, dirty, miserable medieval world you picture in your head? A lot of that was invented in the 1800s. Victorian writers loved painting the Middle Ages as filthy and backward. It made their era look advanced by comparison. Progress needs a villain to compare itself to. So they exaggerated the mud, exaggerated the disease, skipped over the parts where medieval towns had guilds, universities, stone cathedrals engineered so precisely we still can't fully explain the math. They also skipped the part that's actually disturbing. Medieval people had leisure, festivals, dozens of holy days off work. In some ways, more days off than you get now. The hell wasn't a lack of comfort, it was a complete lack of choice. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. You have a clock, you have a calendar. You own your time. But check your last week. How much of it did you actually choose? Wake up because an alarm says so. Work because rent says so. Scroll because a notification says so. The bells changed. They're just quieter now. A vibration in your pocket instead of a tower in the village square. Medieval peasants owed days of labor to a lord they never chose. You might feel like you owe hours to a job, a debt, a routine you never really chose either. The mud is gone, the plague is gone, but the question underneath it hasn't changed at all. Who actually owns your time? You pictured medieval life as hell because of dirt and disease. But the real hell was never having a say in your own days. So next time your phone buzzes and you drop everything to answer it, ask yourself, are you really that different from a peasant answering the bell?